Hi, I'm Brooke, and welcome back to Female Scientist Friday. This week, we're going to be talking about our oldest female scientist, Hildegard of Bingen. A really crazy thing about Hildegard is she really isn't remembered as a scientist. She was actually a German abbess, which means she was the head of a nunnery. She was canonized or made into a saint by the Catholic Church in 2012, over 800 years after she died. Hildegard was born in 1098 in Germany and was sent to live in a nunnery at a young age, which was traditional at the time. She received her education at the nunnery, but was self-taught in many of her subjects. She lived there her whole life and eventually became in charge of it. While she was there, she became interested in a lot of different topics. She was an artist, author, biologist, composer, mystic, pharmacist, poet, preacher, and more. What she's most remembered for is her musical compositions, but she also did a whole lot more. She became known for her natural remedies and used these to tend to her nuns' illnesses and injuries. She used the nunnery's herb garden to heal and read every medical and scientific text that was available to her. She wrote her medical findings in about a dozen books. These books are historically significant because they show areas of medieval medicine that were not well documented because their practitioners, mainly women, didn't typically write their findings down. Some remedies Hildegard recorded are ones we use today, like taking a hot bath when we don't feel good and following proper sleep patterns to keep us healthy. It's pretty crazy to think that people used to use the same methods for hundreds of years. Because of this, Hildegard is credited with being one of the founders of natural scientific history in Germany. She also invented a language, wrote a play, was a famous preacher in her area of Germany during her life, and compiled a book of letters from many famous Germans during her lifetime. Aside from her medical writings, Hildegard was an excellent composer, but her musical compositions were not acknowledged until the 1970s. There are 77 surviving compositions, making it one of the largest collections for medieval composers. Hildegard is also one of the oldest known composers of Western music, but there was very little mention of her before 1979. I wanted to clip one of her songs called Spiritus Sanctus Vivificans so you guys had a chance to listen to it. We just listened to a song written 850 years ago. I don't know about y'all, but I think that's pretty neat. Go check her out on Spotify. Hildegard stood out in other ways, including her persistence to stand up for herself and her beliefs, and she consistently butted heads with the leaders of the church, but refused to be treated as less than in regards to her gender. She preached to predominantly male audiences, even though many leaders in the church believed that women should not be allowed to preach to men. She was known in Germany for her religious beliefs, her medical advice, as well as her leadership skills. Ironically, there's very little evidence that anyone outside of her convent would have heard her music, but it's the thing that defines her today. Hildegard was a great woman and did not let the confines of the church or her gender stop her. You can learn more about the science of music at the Science Spectrum.